What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Once again, another Samsung Galaxy S10 comparison, and I think this is going to be one of the last comparisons I do for a little bit for the Galaxy S10. I feel like I'm kind of overdoing it. I might drop one or two, maybe three more, which kind of sounds like a lot, but I've done like 30 of them. But it's so weird because like I personally love doing these things, and this is a comparison I always love doing because like the iPhone SE is just such a good, tremendous phone still. This is why I'm saying Apple should make an iPhone SE too, but this is not that video. I've done so many of those, so I kind of want to see, what the main differences are between these. Obviously, these are completely different phones. The iPhone SE you can probably get for like probably less than $100. The Galaxy S10 obviously just came out. It's a brand new phone, but really there might be some similarities, there might be some overlap, and I kind of want to see how much better is the Samsung Galaxy S10. Price wise, I mean, the Galaxy S10 is almost 10 times the price as an iPhone SE, at least in the used market. So let's go ahead and see what the differences are between these. So obviously the Galaxy S10 was just released literally like 2 weeks ago, but the iPhone SE was released in 2016 in March, so it's pushing about 3 years at this point, which is pretty crazy if you ask me. Does it feel like a 3-year-old phone in the hands? I mean, obviously it kind of does because of the body. It had the iPhone 5S body, and I'm so used to it being like that kind of type of older design. But in terms of the speed, which I'll get into in a second, it doesn't feel that old at all. The screen size on the iPhone SE is 4 inches. It's an IPS panel, and in my opinion, it's not horrible, but like it's definitely nothing compared to the Galaxy S10. The Galaxy S10 has a 6.1 inch dynamic AMOLED display. It's 1440p, and I'll tell you right now, the Samsung Galaxy S10 has one of the best displays I've ever seen. But I will say that I compared the Galaxy S8 to the Galaxy S9, so many phones. I still don't think the Galaxy S10 is like a way better display. I still think the Galaxy S8's display is still very good, but I definitely think it's a humongous improvement from the iPhone SE. Now, one similarity between these two is that they both have the headphone jack, but that's really uncommon with iPhones now. Obviously, they stopped supporting the headphone jack. No iPhones that are being sold right now have them, but Samsung's, all of their S series phones have had headphone jacks, so that's kind of interesting. If you're into that, that's you, but really I don't really care anymore. And in terms of the hand, the way they both feel, the Galaxy S10 definitely feels way more premium, and I don't think the iPhone SE feels extremely cheap, but definitely compared to the Galaxy S10, we have like pretty much no bezel on the front. We have a really tiny bezel on the bottom, and then the hole punch camera, and on the back we do have a glass back as well. So in terms of the way they both feel, the Galaxy S10 definitely wins there, but I don't think the iPhone SE feels cheap at all. You do have like two little glass panels on the top and bottom, so that kind of adds to the premiumness to it, and the iPhone SE does have a ton of bezel on the front of it. But another similarity between these two is that they both have fingerprint sensors on the front, and I will definitely probably say I think the iPhone SE has the better fingerprint sensor. Even though it's Touch ID 1, I think Touch ID 1 is better than the Galaxy S10 stock fingerprint sensor under the display. But what I will say though is I like the Galaxy S10s more. Obviously, it's the first of its technology kind of. I mean, other phones have had inbuilt fingerprint sensors in the display, but I do respect Samsung, and I definitely would give the edge in terms of the fingerprint sensor to the Galaxy S10, no doubt. So that kind of covers up that main aspect of it and kind of the way they feel around the hand. Now I kind of want to talk about the software. So usually what I would say is iPhones would definitely outlast Samsung's, but in this case it is a little bit different because we're comparing a brand new Samsung Galaxy to an older iPhone, and I personally believe that the iPhone SE will stop being supported after iOS 13, so it's definitely going to get iOS 13, but I don't think it's going to go much further after that. I think it's going to stop there, so that's really only like another year and a half of support, where the Samsung Galaxy S10 just got started, so it's going to keep going further and further, and it's probably going to get 3 years of support. But the other thing the Galaxy S10 has an advantage of is that eventually you will be able to root it and throw custom ROMs at it. So eventually when Android Z comes out, maybe hopefully in the future, I don't know, potentially there could be a ROM that could be supported for the Galaxy S10, and because of the way the Galaxy S10 has been marketed and the way, a lot of people are buying it, I would assume this thing is going to be supported in the third-party community for a while, so you're going to be able to custom ROM it and all that stuff. So in terms of that, I would definitely say the iPhone SE kind of lacks in this area, but I do respect it. It had a lot of support for the time of it being released. It really wasn't even supposed to be released in the first place, but I have so much love for that. But I think in terms of software, the Samsung Galaxy S10 probably wins here. Now, I kind of want to talk about the performance as well. So the iPhone SE has the Apple A9 chip, which is the same as the iPhone 6s, a dual-core CPU, and 2 GB of RAM, where the Galaxy S10 has the Exynos 9820 octa chipset on some variants, and a Qualcomm Snapdragon 855 on others, an Adreno 640 GPU, and 8 gigs of RAM. And what I will tell you is, without a doubt, the Samsung Galaxy S10 is a much better performing of a phone, I will say, okay? Which is probably no surprise to a lot of you. For those of you who own the Galaxy S10, it's like one of the fastest phones ever made. speed. In my personal opinion, I've never used another phone in my life that is as fast as the Samsung Galaxy S10, but what I have heard is that over time with Samsung phones specifically, there's usually a lot of bloatware that kind of happens over time. Sometimes when you download a bunch of apps and things like that, the phone tends to slow down over time. But what I've seen with the iPhones is that's not necessarily the case. I mean, iPhones, you use up more storage, battery life tends to go down and stuff like that, but very rarely do I hear complaints about people's iPhones slowing down over time, unless it's like the battery slowdown thing that Apple did a while ago. So maybe in the future, the Galaxy S10 might slow down a little bit just due to the Samsung software inside of it. But as of right now, the Samsung Galaxy S10 is one of the fastest phones I've ever used. And honestly, I thought the Samsung Galaxy S10 was going to be way faster than the iPhone SE, but it is definitely faster, don't get me wrong, but it's not as fast as I thought it was going to be. So I did a speed comparison. I compared both of them, and what I found was that yes, the Samsung Galaxy S10 was faster, no doubt, and it's a noticeable speed difference. The Galaxy S10, it's not like it's close. I don't have to slow down the frames or anything, but as you can see with the iPhone SE, I mean, it definitely kind of holds up, and I'm still kind of surprised about that. I was expecting the iPhone SE to be definitely like noticeably slower, but like way slower, probably like it's still booting up the logo while the other one's finished, and that was the case on some versions, but I thought it was going to happen like that with like every single app, and that wasn't really the case, man. And that kind of is a testament to the iPhone SE at a broader scale. Maybe that's just a testament of like, how much faster can a phone get, really, like from the Galaxy S10. I mean, like in 2-3 years, or even next year, like what's going to happen to next year's Galaxy S11 that the Galaxy S10 can't do? Like how much better is the performance going to get, and at what point is it even worth it to get the newest one? I mean, even here in terms of the performance, if I had an iPhone SE, I would definitely not just upgrade for the performance increase, because if that was the case, then I would just go get a Galaxy S9 for cheaper, or even like a OnePlus 6T, because that thing is super fast too. But I'll definitely say in terms of speed itself, the Galaxy S10 is a much faster phone than really all the phones that I've tested compared to it so far. But in reality, I still have a lot of respect for the iPhone SE. It's still fairly fast, and as long as you don't compare them side by side, you probably will not be discouraged. So if you currently own an iPhone SE, dude, don't look at this and be like, oh my god, like my phone is obsolete. It's just not. Be a proud iPhone SE owner, and be a proud Galaxy S10 owner. So well, I don't know. So that kind of covers that aspect of it. I kind of want to hit on the camera, but I really don't like talking about it too much, I'll be honest. The iPhone SE has a single sensor on the back. It's 12 megapixels. You can shoot 4K videos on it. You can do 1080p at up to 120 frames. And I'll definitely say, like, it's not a bad camera at all. Like, it's a pretty decent camera. It's pretty much the same sensor as the iPhone 6s, and I've had pretty decent luck with it. I compared it to the iPhone XR and everything, and I've had pretty good shots. Like, I don't think it's a bad camera at all. It's really, really good for the price point and for the year it was released. But the Galaxy S10 has 3 cameras on it, and it's just really no competition. The Galaxy S10 definitely wins here. You have 2 12 megapixel sensors and a 16 megapixel ultra wide sensor, which allows you to get more of a photo and kind of gives you that fisheye lens. And you can shoot 4K at up to 60 frames per second and 1080p at up to 240 frames. And yeah, without a doubt, the Galaxy S10 wins here. I didn't think anybody was going to be surprised. But one interesting thing though is not necessarily only the camera quality, because definitely the camera quality I think is better on the Galaxy S10, but just the amount of features that the Galaxy S10 camera has within it that the iPhone SE doesn't have, but even the iPhone XS Max doesn't have either. And the weird thing Apple does is that they put their camera settings for their app in the settings app, which makes absolutely no sense. Like, why would they put it there? You would have to maneuver so many different places to change your resolution from like 1080p to 4K. But Samsung puts all of that within the camera app, which is so convenient. Apple needs to learn from that. In iOS 13, I hope they change that. But even things like that, like if they just maneuver some things around, the iPhone SE could have potentially looked like that it had more features and things like that. But in reality, the Galaxy S10 definitely has way more features than the iPhone SE and basically all the other iPhones in terms of camera functionality. So without a doubt, the Galaxy S10 definitely wins in the camera department in my book. The front, we have a 1.2 megapixel camera on the iPhone SE and a 10 megapixel sensor on the Galaxy S10. And again, it's the same old, same old. Of course, the Galaxy S10's camera is better, but in all honesty, the Galaxy S10 is a much better camera, not only because of the camera quality itself, but also the features within that camera app. Keep that in mind. Now, this last thing I kind of want to hit on is the battery life. So surprisingly, in my opinion, when I updated my iPhone SE to iOS 12, I've pretty much had consistent, pretty good battery life. I talked about it on my second channel very briefly, but like I've had really good battery life on my iPhone SE. But if you looked at the size of the batteries, you'd probably get like another opinion. My iPhone SE has a 1624 milliamp hour battery. The Galaxy S10 has a 3400 milliamp hour battery, and I'll definitely say the Galaxy S10 lasts longer, but I have had pretty good battery life on my iPhone SE. This is the one case example where I will say you don't necessarily need a bigger battery size on a phone. This is the only time I'll ever say it. The iPhone SE is the one exemption. For every other phone manufacturer out there, even Apple still included, for every other phone, whatever, put a bigger battery size into your phone. In this case, I would still still give the edge to the Galaxy S10 for the battery life, not only because of the software optimizations of Android Pie and all the things like that in Samsung One UI. 100% the battery size is one of the biggest advantages for the Galaxy S10. It's a 3400 mAh battery. They increased it from the Galaxy S9, the Galaxy S8, all the predecessors. It's a bigger battery size, and thus you're getting better battery life. But here's the crazier thing. You can do reverse wireless charging from the Galaxy S10, which is insane, and I love that so much. And the sad thing is the iPhone SE does not support Qi wireless charging, so you can't charge it from the Galaxy S10, but that's kind of a disadvantage for the iPhone SE. But the Galaxy S10 in this department, again, it wins, but it's really no competition. The Galaxy S10, man, is just such a better phone. And I'll tell you one notable thing to note, I guess. The Galaxy S10 also has a micro SD card slot. It's also IP68 dust and waterproof. So there's the two things right there. Those are the biggest notable things to note between these two. And what I'll tell you is the Galaxy S10, yes, it is a much better phone. If I had to choose one, obviously I would pick a Galaxy S10. But here's the thing, the Galaxy S10, I paid almost $1,000 for my unit. My iPhone SE, I mean, I've bought iPhone SEs before for like $80, $90. So in my opinion, I don't think the Galaxy S10 is 10 times a better phone than the iPhone SE. Maybe it's like 3 times as good, 4 times as good, but definitely not 9 to 10 times better. So what I will tell you is that if you're in the market for, if you want to get a Galaxy S10 for some reason from an iPhone SE, I would say, instead of getting that, you can easily go get a Galaxy S9 or even like a Galaxy Note 8. Those phones are super solid options. I like both of them a lot. I would even probably pick a Galaxy Note 8 over the S9, mostly because of the S Pen features and the bigger screen and all that stuff. But if you want to stick the iPhone route, you can always go get an iPhone 10, which is going to be cheaper than the Galaxy S10. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and link a Samsung Galaxy S10, an iPhone SE, a Galaxy S9, and an iPhone 10 and a Galaxy Note 8 in the description below. There's going to be tons of links. You guys can choose your pick. I'll put the prices down there too, so it's more convenient for you to kind of sort through, and you guys can figure out from there which one you want. Of course, every single sale that goes through those links, a little bit of that revenue comes back to the channel, so we can do more videos like this and more comparisons and more giveaways. We're still doing an iPhone SE giveaway if you're interested. I have 2 more left. I'm picking another winner this Sunday and then another one the next Sunday, so you still have like 2 weeks to enter. So good luck to all those people. If you want to enter, click like the last link in the description. It's not the last link, but after my affiliate links, it's the first link after the phone link, so click that. It'll take you to a video. It's completely free to enter. You guys can watch it from there, but that's pretty much it. If you guys have any questions or anything, leave it down in the comment section below. Hit that like button, that'll mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. Every single subscriber that we get really does count, so it'll mean so much if you guys could hit that. Also check out the other links down in the description as well. My Twitter, my Instagram, my second channel, all those links are linked down below. I would really appreciate if you guys could check it out. But more importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.